already?
Looks like it.
Yeah.
It's a little bit longer.
Leg here. Oh, that's so good. So hungry.
Yes. Yes.
First time having quail.
How do you like it?
I like it a lot. It has a really nice flavor.
Yeah.
Especially.
Very clean birds, man.
This fire's hot.
That's because, plus, you know, it's one of those things. It's so cold in the desert right now. And you sit here, you get the heat, you're like, oh man, it's too hot. But you don't want to step outside because I'm assuming maybe it's
Smoke.
36 degrees right now. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's in the 30s, yeah.
30s, most likely.
At least step away from the fire.
Yeah, man.
It's cold. Smoke.
Everything has its own challenge. Even the fire. You want to get the heat and when you cook, you don't have to deal with the smoke. Right?
Primitive life is one of comforts.
Sure. Sure.
You're not dressed very primitively.
Not really. There's a good reason for it.
Yeah.
I'm not Chad Zuber.
Oh, I'm feeling kind of cold.
Just warm up.
It's been a long day walking, running around in the desert in loincloths.
You've been inspiring me with that, man, because I do love the feeling of having the loincloth. You're more free, you know. It's a little, it gives you a little extra feeling other than putting on a shorts or hiking pants. You know, it's something completely different.
It is. It's for me, I really feel closer to nature when I wear a loincloth.
Yeah.
It's just so natural, you know. And it just enhances the whole experience.
Plus, what you made it from, you know, you have.
Yeah.
You know,
when you make it,
natural.
it's so cool.
Yeah. And that's the big thing. I think that makes a lot of difference. Because the same way we put what we put in our body, what we wear, whether it's synthetic or whether it's natural, a certain effect, a certain thing to us. Like our skin is an organ in a way. So it absorbs what we, you know, put on.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Skin does absorb. You know, speaking of that, it's been several months that I've been only using natural soaps.
Okay.
And I've only washed my hair with yucca leaves. And I tell you, I noticed a big difference.
Huh.
Right, the difference is like, for one, I noticed that I don't have to wash my hair as often. It seems to be more resistant, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
To bacterias or whatever. And the yucca cleans really well. But it preserves all the natural oils of the hair.
Oh, interesting.
Same effect on the skin. You know?
So many uses of yucca, you know. Like earlier we made that. You can make a grill, you can make sandals out of yucca, you can make a cordage. You can use yucca as something you can wash your hair with. And that's something that I think, you know, people, not a lot of people, but most people don't understand the things that we wash our hair with. It's all the product with you know, product of nature in the end of the day with chemicals added to it.
Right.
Yet, if you will go to a regular person and say, okay, here's what you wash your hair with, it's yucca leaves. He's probably going to be like, what the hell are you talking about, you know?
Absolutely. That happens. Very few people are willing to
They're going to buy a shampoo
fully take nature.
that has a yucca picture on it.
Right. It has
because
yucca extract.
That has a yucca extract out of it. Amazing, right? Yeah. Yeah, man. I have noticed my limitations when it comes down to certain things, and for me, biggest challenge has always been the cold. You know?
It's tough.
Yeah. Partially, I think it's because where I was born, and even though I was always around cold, it wasn't something that we embraced it as in, oh, it's cold outside, we all know. Put on your, coat, make sure you got your boots on.
Right, protect yourself from it.
Protect yourself from it. Cold was just out there to get you.
Mm-hmm.
Then me living out in Texas, and then in West Coast, for 15 plus years, I'm so adapted to heat. However, I have noticed myself being able to endure very, very hot temperatures.
Mm-hmm.
Being able to withstand 110 plus, 111 plus degrees, and just keep moving forward. It just seems something more natural to me in a way. I feel more charged. I feel more active. Which makes sense because when it's hot outside, you want to get out there. You want to do the sun is shining. It's nice.
Right.
But I want to know, other than a mental toughness, what else is your motivation on always being able to endure cold temperatures like today? Earlier we were probably hitting, low 40s and now you're still in a loincloth.
Yeah, but I would not. After the longer you're in the cold, the more deeper it penetrates. And so, after a while, it does get tougher. But I guess the body can adapt to so much.
Yeah.
For someone who's an athlete, and they're first just start training, and you realize whatever workout or activity that you're participating in, it's difficult and exhausting at first.
Absolutely.
And then you find your body adapts, and you're able to go work out longer, work out heavier weight, etc. And it's just the idea of consistently doing that. And so, for me, it's kind of a habit to just be out wearing very little in the wintertime here. Of course, it doesn't get freezing.
Yeah.
Here it does get close to freezing, but even like in the city or whatever, shorts and a t-shirt, and winter nights.
That's awesome.
Just doing that regularly, it just helps the body adapt. And the times that I've traveled to cold places in the snow, I like to get out and just with shorts and sandals and spend some time in the snow and just kind of deal with it, And you find doing exercise when your body's moving, it produces a lot more heat.
Right.
And I've learned things like if I've been eating well, you can endure it more. The body burns food, burns calories, which produces heat.
Yeah.
And that helps you endure as well.
I think the willingness of just really pouring yourself out there, and like the commitment part of it. Like for me, it's the martial arts, and knowing that's something that I'm trying. Again, it's such a simple aspect, but such a hard thing to deal with. I know there's a lot of people out there like me. What is it outside? 40 degrees? Oh, you better make sure you got your jacket on.
Yeah, absolutely.
You better make sure you got your boots on.
There's this
get out there and
concept that you'll get sick.
Not even walking into the balcony, I'm talking that. Yeah, you'll get sick. That's certainly. Yes,
Well, what I believe happens is, the cold doesn't make you sick. It does. It can weaken your immune system, though. It's just stress. What it does create stress in the body. Too much stress will weaken the immune system and make you susceptible to getting sick.
Yeah. Certainly, it's true.
I believe the key to staying healthy is just to keep your immune system strong.
Yeah, and it comes with food intake, your exercise, your diet, the things that you're involved with. just improving yourself, doing the best you can to stay the best version of yourself. That's my motto.
Yeah, and you know, there's also this conception this idea that, you know, you just avoid germs, avoid bacterias, and things like that. And that's really impossible in the world.
Yeah.
Unless you lived in a little bubble.
Yeah.
And the problem when you're too careful with that is that the body actually gets weak. The immune system gets weak. And makes, when you do encounter these enemy germs or bacterias, then the body struggles to defeat them.
That's pretty much what vaccines are.
Right.
You know, weaker version of all these diseases to let our body be familiar
to stimulate
with.
the body to react.
The body. So now that when you actually do get close with certain perhaps disease, your body knows how to react to it, so you can overcome. You know, I don't know if I got my facts straight on it, but I think there was a doctor who did a study on germs, and they found, I don't know exact number again, I gotta check my facts, but he found so many bugs on New York subway that some that weren't even available anywhere else, not even in hospitals.
Mm-hmm.
And his analogy was like, hey, let your kids go and roll around on the floor in New York subway so they can get their immunity
develop
boosted.
their immune system.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
an interesting way of looking at it.
There've been studies like kids that grew up on like farms or around animals,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
and their immune systems they got sick less. They became sick, had less flu, less cold symptoms, less frequently than those that were raised in a very hygienic environment.
Hygienic environment. That is so 100%. You know, it comes down, and again, then there is a guy like Wim Hof. You know, his whole thing is, cold is your friend.
Yeah.
This guy is hiking.
That's amazing. He's amazing.
He's amazing. In mountains with nothing. And he's holding seminars. I'm looking at all these guys getting in these ice baths.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just straight ice bath and holding themselves in. That's cold right there.
No, that's extreme.
That's extreme, you know, and I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing. What I wonder, though, is really interesting to me. Is there a difference between those ice baths and actually being out there in a cold wind? I feel like maybe there's different correlation because your whole body is exposed to cold, or it's just cold. You know, it's something that I want to look into.
Well, the water really penetrates more. It's just dense. And the water, being in cold water, it sucks the heat out of you very quickly.
Your whole
because
body
of the
does.
density of the water.
And you would think that's something that would definitely get you sick. But it's now actually a guy like Wim Hof is coming and saying that you continue doing so, you're going to be healthy.
Mm-hmm. No, that makes sense, actually.
You know.
It's challenging the body, it's training the body to be stronger.
Yeah. That's why if you go back into history and see like Spartans, you know, I take a lot of motivation from Spartans on what they had to endure and how their trainings were. Since, you know, being from a young age, I mean, they were always exposed to, you know, what's so-called stress, what's so-called, you know, hardships. And they had no choice. You know, I truly believe that's where your growth is. The moment you are thinking you're going to fail, the moment you are saying this might be the end, or oh my God, what am I doing right now?
Absolutely.
You know, you get through that, and that's a whole nother level. In a way, it's a revolutionary period that's happening within yourself. You know, I'm sure that revolutionary period happened in the human history, perhaps. Like, it was interesting for me to find out. Again, I gotta check my facts. Before Homo sapiens, before early men, fear was the driving force for this mice-looking mammal, prehistoric mice-looking mammal creature to run away from larger predators to hide. And that motivation led to them being able to climb. From climbing, they start sitting on the trees. From trees, intelligence, small, droplets of intelligence and ideas. Then they came down from the trees, went from Homo erectus. And, I'm not a scientist, but I've been really looking into this whole idea. I think I'm burning my bird at this point.
Oh, yeah, pull your bird out. I didn't know he was in there. It was on fire.
And that's all that was not fun. All that was not, comfort zones. It was always finding out what's the best that led to us now being able to take rockets outside of this planet. Human race. It makes you think at times. I mean, it's really, really deep thinking. Which is very normal next to bonfire in the desert. Thoughts are flowing. But it makes you wonder. Such a difference, such a, impact our species have made in this planet. All because of the experimenting, all because of the motivation, being able to figure out what's the best thing to do and stepping out of your comfort zone. Comfort zone, man. Comfort zone. I love listening to David Goggins. Shout out to David Goggins. I read his book. Actually, I listened to his book twice. Can't Hurt Me.
What book?
Can't Hurt Me. It's called Can't Hurt Me. It's an audio book by David Goggins. I mean, the guy went through so much. Actually, I think I do have. I'll send it to you if you're interested. Navy SEAL. Basically, long story short, he found out what he was never good at or what he was afraid of, and he went all against it. Guy lost 100+ pounds in 3 months. Joined Navy,
Wow.
He was afraid of water. He was in the Navy for it, He enjoyed so much, had health issues. Now he's like broken records. This guy's ran miles and miles and miles. Seeing what human body is literally capable of, man. More than what you're being told. Makes you wonder what else out there that if you put your mind out there for it, how tough can you become? How much more can you do?
This is so good.
Yeah. You want this one? I'm done.
You're done?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah, you want this? As a survivalist, as someone who studies nature, as someone who experiments with different plants, different ideas, different tools that you get to create, what is your intent towards your audience? What else do you want to share? What's the word you're trying to get across?
Well, I consider myself a lifelong student of nature. There's so much to learn, and I won't live long enough to learn everything I want to learn. And I'm fascinated by the native peoples that they live this every day. This wasn't on a weekend getaway or something. This was life. This was everyday life from birth to death. They didn't have alternatives like jobs and careers and going to universities and internet and games.
Yeah.
It was very simple. And they developed very intimate relationship with nature as a result. And I just found a lot of value in my own personal life by getting closer to nature. And I think there's a lot more to learn. I've different plants that are medicinal. That can do great things for your health. And just the time being in the quiet, just being away from all the noise of the city.
Oh yeah.
Just disconnected from Wi-Fi. I mean, I always wonder sometimes, you go into the city and there's just how many Wi-Fi. Excuse me, get my smoke in my eyes.
Oh yeah, it's all good. It's happening to me. Certain.
How many Wi-Fi networks are floating through the air in any given place?
I'm getting one recent just Tuesday.
No, I'm talking about networks that you choose when you go online.
Oh yeah.
You activate your Wi-Fi.
We can't even see it.
And there's 20 different networks that are available.
Yep.
It's like all these waves are just going through your body and stuff all the time. Here, there's absolutely zero of that.
That's true. That is
and I just wonder what's the effect on our bodies, our minds.
Yeah. Not even a cell phone reception here. Not even that little. Mm-hmm. We're saying that if you were able to see Wi-Fi and just a cell, generally speaking, like a cell phone waves, world will look very different.
Oh yeah,
than
you could see
what it is. You could
it'd
see
be like smoke, everywhere.
Yeah, something. Some kind of rays traveling around. And you're right. I wonder that myself. There's a very interesting feel to it. Whether I here coming out to camp with you or taking a family out, there's certain luxury to it. Even though everything is so simple and basic, there's certain luxury feeling to it. Mm-hmm. Just being out there by the fire, beautiful sky, like they were saying, hey, you stay in a 5-star hotel, I'm in a 1,000,000-star hotel.
Right.
This is the 1,000,000-star hotel, especially where we at. Not a lot of places can offer that, but yeah, you're not gonna get your AC and heat adjusted.
Not gonna have room service.
Exactly.
Not gonna have big screen TV.
Self-reliance will be your only choice. I get that sense all the time, and that's why I keep coming back into it. For those that has not camped or camped a few times, perhaps it was maybe a little different. Like in the past, I would go to certain state parks back in Texas. I would get slightly disappointed seeing this large RVs with loud music. I'm talking half a living room is in there for a weekend. What is the point if you are trying to imitate what you're doing in your living room? Instead, stay home. The purpose is to disconnect, again, to remember. Something does happen to you, like our human gratitude system works differently. And when you're out here in the nature, you start to sense it. You start to remember what it is. You start to dive deep into your deepest DNA. You cannot disrespect the fact of our ancestors experimenting with so much that has led to this point where we now know, for example, not to eat certain poisonous plants, or don't put your hand in the fire. Don't go, running away into nowhere in the middle of the night because you might be taken by a wolf. All of this information is still in there. A smell of a smoke has this sense in my mind. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's something that has happened, but every time I smell it, it's very dear. That itself, I believe, is coded to our DNA as well.
Absolutely. I've been fascinated by how you can just stare at a fire and be fully entertained.
Oh man, I could stare at it all day long, all night long. Fire and water. These two elements. Fire generally, because... So for those of you that don't know, I'm originally from Azerbaijan, and our people worshipped fire. And, our symbol still is a fire, everlasting fire. And I think about it sometimes. Like today, before this fire started, I was freezing. After this fire started, my body started to relax. Thoughts started to flow. we made a little cook. You know, you start regenerating your energy. You start taking advantage of the heat. It's the sun, like a small piece, tiny particle of sun in front of you when the sun is not out there in the sky.
Oh yeah.
That's what it feels like. That's because without sun, there's no life. So there's no life without fire. That's probably why they worship fire.
For humans, it's super important. Obviously, we're the only creatures that use it.
Absolutely, yeah. Most animals, they run away from fire. They get scared of fire.
And man could live without it. But that was the first technology that eventually led to all the technologies that we currently have.
Literally.
Without fire, you couldn't have anything else.
No, nothing. I mean, we're talking way in medieval ages, you know, to melt something to make a sword, you know. Vikings, way past, man. Yeah, it's amazing. And all of these thoughts would have no way crossed my mind otherwise if I wasn't here. You know, there's not distraction. Although I do notice one thing. Consistently my brain is thinking, I wonder what is happening on my cell phone.
What's happening on your cell phone? Really?
Yes.
I haven't thought about my cell phone.
I have. And I'm noticing that it's like, I know that there's nothing I can do. There's no network in here. We're in the literally middle of nowhere, and there is no reception. And that just shows the certain amount of bond that I have built with the mortal life, with the things that I'm so dependent on. That in a peaceful moment such as this, somewhere in the back of my mind, I still wonder.
Yeah. Damn smoke.
Oh,
the smoke it's been shifting all evening.
Oh, it's going left and right.
Mm-hmm.
It's all over the place.
There's more fuel in there. Yeah, the cell phone becomes like an addiction. And, I mean, I use it a lot. I try to respond to a lot of comments. And so, oh my gosh, excuse me. Smoke in my eyes.
Yeah.
You know, so I do use it a lot, and it becomes stressful.
Yeah.
It's very stressful. And I usually, you know, because I'm so busy doing other things all the time too, you know, so like I'm making things, you know, working at clay or making bow, arrows, whatever. It's something that I can't use a cell phone at the same time. So I tend to use cell phones, you know, when I'm eating or other activities where my hands are free.
Yeah, I have, you know, I have to respond to emails because of my work. A moment passes by, you don't get back to certain.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You know, casting or coordinator, you're done. You've just, you know, lost an opportunity. It's necessary evil at this point.
Well, yeah, if you want to live in modern society, you have to live accordingly. You know, that's what comes with it. That's you know, everyone has a choice to disconnect from it.
Yes.
And live out in the wild, disappear. You know, in many places it's illegal, pretty much. But you could disappear.
You know, that illegal
into the mountains and and try your luck and try to live your life that way. But you know, for many people, obviously, if you have a family and stuff, you'd have to have your whole family go with you too.
Yeah.
You'd have to get them to agree. You know, but you know, some people do this. I've read stories. I read a story about a man and his daughter in a big park in Oregon, a big natural forest area. They lived out there for I think 6 years.
6 years.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
They built a shelter out there and they lived out there, and of course they were close to the city. They would go to the city, get their supplies, but they were out there undetected for about 6 years until someone, I guess, saw them coming out, you know, and then I guess the authorities investigated and found they were living there. But there's cases like that all over the place.
Yeah, I'm sure. And you know, with it becoming illegal, I still haven't hard time understanding that part of, a free will of a man, of, what is it that is illegal if you are comfortable and self-reliant to do what you're wanting to do?
Well, the thing is, if everyone did it, or a vast number of people did the same thing, you would have all kinds of camps, for example, out here.
Yeah.
It's illegal. It's illegal to start building a hut out here and living in it. You can't do that.
Yeah.
If there were no laws to regulate that, there would be communities all over the place. It would be absolute chaos, probably, because it's just human nature to really just screw things up.
Yeah.
Humans need to be governed because we have tendencies to that are really just about our own self-interest. That's why you have police and the army and stuff. We have these forces to keep order.
The system must work a certain way. Yeah.
So and the cost to all that is freedom. You lose a certain amount of freedom. It's like being out here, being alone in the wilderness is like the most pure sense of freedom you can really experience. Some people believe that having a lot of money is freedom, and that financial freedom allows you to buy more stuff, or basically, that's all it really does, and in a sense, it can mean that you don't have to go do any work because you could pay people to do everything for you.
Right.
Is that really a freedom, though? Because you still have to abide by the rules of the society in the country you live in.
Yeah.
Right? You have these certain rules, and the thing in nature is that there's only there's just the physical laws of nature that always existed, that never change. Those don't change. The laws of man don't exist. If you're alone in nature, there's no one else to enforce the laws.
Yeah.
There's no laws. They don't make any sense anyway. Like stop at a red light. There are no red lights. There's pay your taxes. No money. There's no taxes. There's nothing. All those laws are gone.
Yeah.
So you only have the physical laws of nature. When you're in the society, you have the physical laws of nature plus all the laws that man has made.
Yeah. That's a good point. That's absolutely a good point.
And those laws are necessary.
It is necessary. If you don't have a shoemaker, you're going to have to make your own shoe. That's what it comes down to. Shoemaker must make a certain amount of money to make those shoes, so you can pay a certain amount of money to buy that. In order for you to pay that certain amount of money, you must work.
Exactly.
So,
and that's what makes it work.
That's what makes it work.
But regardless, you're going to work. If you're out here, you're going to be working to make your shelter. You're going to be working to find food
all day long.
And often it's not going to work out right. And often you're going to have to spend a cold night outside, or often you might have to go a few days without eating. Society makes it easy. You just go to your job every day and you have enough money for your food.
Yeah.
It's really an easy life.
That's a great point, man, because it's being grateful. I count my blessings every night, whether it was a good day, or it was a certain amount of things that I achieved, or it wasn't a certain amount of things that I didn't, I wanted to achieve, but I didn't get it. But I think the fact that we have an ability to wake up, find a way to work, what we say, work, so you don't have to starve, is a blessing that many have forgotten, is an opportunity for you to live another day, because average human life before modern societies existed was about 38 years.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're lacking that. But of course, a lot of people taking it granted and turn that into their comfort zones and don't want to do anything with their lives. Not watching their diet, staying home only, watching TV, don't want to do anything. That causes depression and anxiety, causes chemical imbalances, because that is not who we are. That's going to be a hell of a big fire.
I got it. There you go. It's going to fall. Let me flip it.
There you go. Now you got it.
We got a full moon earlier today it was raining. Well, I should rephrase that. It was just sprinkling a little bit.
But
we thought it was going to rain.
It was cold. It was cold.
It was cold. It got cold, yeah.
You know, I was looking at you and I was like, oh my God, this man doesn't feel cold, because I was shivering.
It wasn't too bad at first, but eventually it started feeling colder. But yeah, we're shooting some video, and it's really difficult. Survival is one thing, but trying to film it by yourself is really a challenge. I mean, it makes the whole experience 5 times more difficult.
Absolutely.
Because there's so much time involved. And so in a serious survival situation, you need to be, there's certain things you got to take care of, you know, like shelter and water and food. And
conserve your energy. You can't be running back and forth.
Right.
Changing the
setting
lens.
The camera up. Oh
the
my
camera
God, yes. All that is so time consuming. And so it ends up being that it just gets so difficult. And, you know, we intended to build a shelter. We didn't even have time to really look for one properly.
Yeah, because clouds came through.
Yeah, we weren't sure how much rain it might come down, so I didn't get around to building a shelter. It would take all day probably.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Unless we found a cave. You know, and so that's just a reality. You know, I think there's a lot of fantasy.
Yeah.
About what survival is, or you know, camping in the wilderness. I think a lot of people envision, you know, just going out there and just very easily finding a shelter, or, you know, a cave, and then putting some sticks up, and like, oh yeah, just put some sticks up like that. That, you know, in this landscape, for example, you gotta, all the sticks are way down in the bottom of the canyon, and so you find
bushes and some dry leaves.
And you gotta carry that stuff up the hill, back and forth, big bundles, and
you gotta know your area, right?
And not only that, I find that a lot of people have this idea of like the jungle or tropical places.
Yes.
That's just full of all these tropical fruits.
Okay.
And that they're just going to go out there into the jungle and they're going to be picking ripe mangoes and bananas off the trees.
Uh-huh. What's your experience on that?
There's hardly any food in the jungle.
Now that's one place
even
I would
animals are hard to
imagine.
find. Animals are hard to find. Your best source of food is going to be bugs and insects. That's your best food source in the jungle in many cases. You can find fruit at times. Usually the kind of fruit that you find in the jungle is fruit that someone has left behind. They've left seeds and then they happen to grow.
Oh, you'll be so lucky.
And I've experienced that before. Like mangoes, this was in Mexico, and it was mango season. It was like in June or something.
Amazing.
And huge mango trees that were dropping fruit. There was just piles of fruit on the ground, and it was just like perfectly ripe, and you just pick that up, and just so juicy and tasty. And they're just everywhere, all over the ground. I even made a video of it. But but again, that wasn't really truly wild, because actually a natural mango fruit doesn't even taste good. The original ones are very small and very strong tasting, not sweet. See, all the stuff that's in the markets, almost all of it,
GMO.
Not necessarily GMO, but it's been altered over the centuries to bring out the sweetness and make them more desirable. See, people are addicted to sugar.
That is
People
true.
are so addicted to it, and so for generations and generations, people have been trying to make fruit sweeter and sweeter. And so there's this misconception, you know, that this is so great, and I think the greatest fruit might be stuff that hasn't been in the marketplace yet. It hasn't been altered and changed.
What are your favorites?
Favorite fruit?
Yes.
Well, I like almost everything, but pomegranates are one of my favorites. I love pomegranates.
My dad loves pomegranates.
I love pomegranates.
Very
The season
primitive.
just ended.
Yeah. You gotta pick up the little pieces. You gotta, put it up.
Passion fruit.
Yeah.
Pitaya. Dragon fruit.
Yeah. I don't know if I like dragon
Dragon fruits, I like those. In Mexico, this is my favorite fruit. It's called. What's the name of it? Oh my gosh, I forgot the name, but it's big green. It's like pudding. It's so delicious. What is the name? I can't believe I forgot the name.
First part is we're in the desert and we have no Google.
Yeah. No, can't look it up. Can't look it up. No one ask.
We'll find out about it later.
Guanabana.
That's what it is? Guanaba? Guarana?
Guanabana.
Okay.
Guanabana is the Spanish word for it. In English, it's sour pop or something. I forget.
Wow. So it is sour in taste?
It's not sour. No, it's sweet. It's sweet and it has a creamy texture like pudding.
That sounds.
It's
so
really
delicious
incredible.
Right
Has these black seeds, about a half a centimeter long.
Wow.
And they get big, and when they're ripe, they're really soft, and they're heavy. They're like 5-10 pounds even. I think they get.
Yeah. That's interesting, man. That's,
yeah.
I gotta figure out that fruit. I gotta take a taste on it, man.
Yeah, you. If you find it here, it's not going to be that good because they ship them when they're really green still. Because they don't grow here.
Gotcha.
It's very tropical, so. But yeah, that's I think my favorite fruit. It is incredible. In the summer times in Mexico, that's why I look for it.
Oh, I know you're heading back to Mexico sometime next week.
Next month, I think.
Next month, you got some more adventures coming up. You want to tell people?
I don't have anything definite. I do want to invite some people on to go with me for a few days on the trip.
Amazing.
I haven't got that all together yet.
Okay.
And working with a friend. He's worked as a travel guide in Mexico.
I think that would be an amazing opportunity for those to get out and explore and kind of see the world through your eyes of what you're doing and how you do, you know.
Yeah, well, it won't be easy. It It wouldn't be for just anyone. You know, it's got to be people that have some experience and are willing to endure. Mostly it's the physical endurance because it's a lot of hiking.
Yeah.
And it's not a trail. Well, it starts out as a trail, but eventually there's no trail.
Yeah.
So it's pretty rugged. You definitely got to be in good health, and
it's all part of it, you know. It's like you were mentioning earlier. People have the fantasies of beautiful destinations, but the journey itself is amazing, full of adventures. But it's definitely not easy.
Right.
And nothing is a cakewalk. You just gotta ride it on.
Oh, that's really getting hot now.
It's getting real hot. All right.
That log ignited.
We'll wrap it up here. Guys, if y'all want to continue following, I'm sure you'll be posting from Chiapas as soon as you go there. Until then, we got more adventures coming up, and I do promise as soon as it gets a lot more warmer, I'm going back to those sand dunes.
The sand dunes!
Yes, I love the sand dunes.
There's a lot to explore out here. I want to go over these mountains and see what's out there. I would love to find a cave.
Yes.
I want to find a cave so bad.
There's one that on Sloan, right where I live. It's a small cave area. It's really walking distance. I'm not a fan of short hikes or hikes that are easily accessible.
Yeah.
You know this already about me. So I try to really avoid those areas. If you do find, please let me know. Chad, man, thank you so much for
Hey, man. Thank you.
All the work.
Thanks
and
for coming
all the
along.
Advice. I love being out here, learning from you, seeing the world through your eyes. And I do wish one day I'll be brave enough to not have to wear anything at 35 degrees sitting by the fire. Until then, I got some work to do. Me and Paul are not the best friends, man. I'll get there.
It's understandable.
I'll get there.
But don't worry, we're in February and spring and summer are coming.
Hell yeah.
It's going to be too damn hot out here.
I'm all in too damn hot.
All right.
That too damn hot is the best for me, man.
All right.
All right, let's wrap it up and get ready to shelter out.
Sounds good,
long
Zico.
day tomorrow.
All right.
Awesome, brother.
Man, that'd be great. Oh, I saw that. Oh, shoot.